Thank you so much for reciting all the chanting, and particularly the entering the middle way. Before we start the actual class, so I will explain, I will give you some kind of talk a little bit about our daily practice. In the ancient time, before Buddhism and Jainism, there were only the Hindu tradition, the only Hinduism. Also, when we think about Hinduism, the Hindu is not just one religion. There's no such as one kind of person who established Hinduism. Within the Hinduism, there are so many, like the divisions. But commonly, all believe in Bhagavan, the being who created this world, Brahma. So according to Hindu tradition, they believe the world where we live include all living beings, include the four elements, everything created by Brahma. So according to the Indian Hindu tradition, the Brahma has three heads. Mean the Brahma is the creator, Brahma is the sustaining the world, including everything. The Brahma will be the destroyer of the world. Therefore, according to Indian Hindu tradition, the Brahma has three heads. So when you go to Thailand, also Singapore, you can see many temple has a Brahma with a four heads. Simply, according to Hindu tradition, they believe in creator. Based on believing in creator, then they believe next life, previous life, present life, and karma. Since Buddhism flourished in India, also the Jainism flourished in India, then those people who follow Buddhism, who follow Jainism, then they reject, they didn't accept the notion of creator. How they rejected the idea of creator. So according to Buddha Shakyamuni, the first time he talked about dependent origination. So he explained, he taught the concept of dependent, interdependent, dependent origination. As a Buddhist, so we believe in next life, previous life, present life. We believe in Tribalism. We believe all sentient beings can be Buddha in the futures because we believe in dependent origination. So this is the most important concept in Buddhism. It's a very unique teaching taught by Buddha Shakyamuni, dependent origination. Based on the dependent origination, then Buddha taught about the law of cause and effect, the general concept of cause and effect. There's a cause, therefore there's an effect, there's a result. There's a result because there was a causes and condition. Without causes and condition, we cannot believe in result and effect. So believe in dependent origination, then believe in creator, there's a huge contradiction. Once you believe in creator, you cannot really believe in dependent origination. Once you believe in dependent origination, then you cannot accept, you cannot believe in creator because there's a contradiction. Then there's a cause and effect. For example, the outer cause and effect. For example, yesterday and today, the weather is very nice in Singapore because there was raining. There was a raining because there was a lot of clouds. Now you can see there's a lot of clouds, then there's a raining. There's a raining, then the weather became more cooling. There's a raining, there's a water, and we can see all the plants arise caused by water or heat, soil, and the timing. Then second, the Buddha taught the law of cause and effect of the inner world, mean the samsara and the sentient being who exist in samsara. Therefore, you remember when we study about the rice seedling sutra, first Buddha explained the dependent origination based on the outer or external phenomena. Then, second, he explained the dependent origination based on the internal world. Internal means the sentient beings and the place where the sentient being, abide. As a Buddhist, why we have this kind of body? Why other kind of creature like a dog and cats and birds has a different shape of body? Then why we exist? Why we were born in samsara? So why we continuously take a rebirth in samsara? Why? Is a question. Then based on Buddha Shakyamuni and based on his experience, then he realized within the internal world there's a cause and effect. Cause and effect. The suffering which is we don't want, it has a cause and condition to arise suffering. When we experience the happiness which is experienced, it has its own causes and condition. There's a more like cause and condition, there's a more positive cause and condition, then there will be more, kind of happy environment. There's a more happiness. In the other hand, if there's a lot of, the negative conditions, unwholesome condition, then there will be a lot of sufferings, a lot of kind of negative impact. This is the explained by Buddha based on logics and reasoning. Then what is the main cause to arise suffering? What is the main cause to arise happiness? Then Buddha explained the Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths is a basic, it is a very important foundation to know as a Buddhist. Right? Therefore, suffering and origin of suffering, cessation and the path to achieve cessation. Mainly, he's talking about only two things, happiness and suffering. The suffering arises from the cause of suffering, which is origin of suffering. There's a happiness. The happiness actually arises from the positive cause and condition. Then when we think about happiness, there's the physical happiness, the mental happiness. Within the mental happiness, there are many different, kinds of many different types, many different levels of mental happiness. As a Buddhist, we are not seeking the physical happiness. As a Buddhist, we are not seeking, the temporal mental happiness. We are seeking the ultimate and the lasting, the mental happiness. So in order to achieve the ultimate or the real happiness, we need to remove all the causes and conditions to cause to suffering. Therefore, when we think about the origin of suffering, there's only two: karmas and affliction. All affliction actually include ignorance, attachment, close to attachment, anger, close to anger. But mainly the three poison minds are the actual cause to accumulate negative karma. Then all the negative karma cause or produce all the unwholesome environment. So therefore, ignorance is the main kind of primary cause to arise karmas, arise suffering, to born in samsara. So according to Theravada teachings, based on the Theravada tradition, all the Theravadan practitioners, the full ordained, simply lay person, they follow the Four Noble Truths and the 16, practice the 16 characteristics of the Four Noble Truths, then training dependent origination. Then when they practice the path to achieve cessation, mainly they practice the Eightfold Arya path. So when you study very closely about the Four Noble Truth and the four characteristics of the origin of suffering, then there's a impermanence, suffering, emptiness, selflessness. Even though you can say beginning of the Buddha teaching, Buddha taught emptiness. And based on the Four Noble Truth, the meaning of emptiness is different than the meaning of emptiness according to the Prajna Paramita teaching. So this is a very important, kind of point we need to know. If we practice the Four Noble Truths, as well the 16 characteristics of the Four Noble Truth, we can control all the affliction temporarily. We cannot eliminate all the affliction from the root. You can control for time being, then somehow they arise again within our mind. So based on the Mahayana tradition, so they believe if you only practice the Four Noble Truth and the 16 attributes of the Four Noble Truth, or the 16 characteristics of the Four Noble Truth, you can control the manifest affliction for time being, cannot eliminate from the root. This is how the Mahayana believe, the Mahayana tradition. And according to Theravada tradition, I said tradition. According to Theravada tradition, in order to achieve liberation, in order to achieve Buddhahood, so we no need to realize emptiness. Without realizing emptiness, we can achieve liberation, we can achieve Buddhahood. This is according to Theravada tradition. Actually, all the Theravada's practitioners at the Buddha lifetime, after Buddha passing away, all the Theravada practitioners, they practice Four Noble Truth, 16 characteristics of the Four Noble Truth, as well as renunciation and emptiness. Right? So therefore, according to Nagarjuna, so they are Master Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti, according to Buddha's teaching, according to Shantideva, they assert in order to achieve liberation, the practitioner must realize emptiness. Without realizing emptiness, none of them, nobody can achieve liberation. Therefore, according to Shantideva, he said, without realizing emptiness, you cannot achieve liberation. Then he quoted, like a quotation from the Prajna Paramita teaching, point number 1. The point number 2, why? Then somebody asked question, right? Why the practitioner need to realize emptiness? Without realizing emptiness, they can achieve liberation. No need to realize emptiness. This is a question. Then the answer answered by Shantideva. He said, without realizing emptiness, you can control the manifest afflictions. You cannot get rid of all the affliction from the root. Then this is a question, why cannot? Why cannot? Why cannot, right? Why the practitioner cannot eliminate all the afflictions from the root without realizing emptiness? Why cannot? Then, according to Shantideva's point of view, he said, when you realize Four Noble Truth and the 16 characteristics, you realize selflessness, emptiness. The emptiness, which is characteristic of the first truth of suffering, the empty is self-sufficient, substantially existent, empty of self-sufficient, substantially existent. This is the meaning of emptiness. Even though in the India, many Indian master, many Tibetan master confuse differences between the emptiness, which is the characteristic of the truth of suffering, and the emptiness taught by Buddha during the second wheel of Dharma. They thought is same meaning. Right? So we will start class from that point. So if you have a book, you can see the page number 82 and 83. 82, the last.
Which book? The commentary or the Lama Tsongkhapa?
Yeah, commentary Lama Tsongkhapa. Yeah, this one.
Thank you, Geshe.
Yeah, page number 82. One is free through the view of emptiness. The other contemplation support that. That means emptiness. Look, emptiness is the main thing to realize, main thing to free all sentient beings suffering. The rest of the teaching is the support to emptiness, to free all sentient beings from suffering. Emptiness, the emptiness. Then the page number 83, misted by phrase, the view of emptiness. Here, even some Indian master assert that this referred to the view realizing suggestness. So many Indian masters thought, the meaning of emptiness within the four characteristics of the first truth and suggestness are same. Therefore, many Indian masters also confuse here. Here, even some Indian master assert that this referred to the view realizing suggestness, emptiness, and they thought, this meaning of emptiness and suggestness is same. This is decidedly not the meaning. Here is referred to the emptiness, is referred to the view realizing the person as empty of self-sufficient, substantial reality. Please remember these words: empty of self-sufficient, substantial reality. That means impermanence, suffering, emptiness. Emptiness means the person is empty of self-sufficient, substantial reality. So this is the meaning of emptiness among the four characteristics of the first truth. So you must think, during the first wheel of Dharma, Buddha taught emptiness. Because Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths, each truth has four characteristics. Truth of suffering has a four. First, impermanence. Second, suffering. Third is emptiness. Fourth is selflessness. This meaning of emptiness, that the meaning of emptiness based on the second wheel of Dharma is totally different. The first is very gross. The second was the fine, the meaning of emptiness. So we need to know what does mean self-sufficient. Because last time, somebody asked question, self-sufficient substantial reality. Empty of self-sufficient substantial reality. Again, these words are self-sufficient substantial reality, translated from Tibetan language into English. In Tibetan language, we name it Gangza. Gangza means person. Gangza means person or being. Being means who has the mind and feeling, we name being, all sentient beings. Right? According to Buddhist tradition, we don't accept the plant, the flower, are like a being, living being. Because they don't have mind and consciousness. That means person or being, right? Then self-sufficient means, then Tibetan word we say Ranghya Thupa. Ranghya Thupa means able to recognize without depending on anything, without depending on any other things. Mean self-sufficient. Mean then like exist safely, self-sufficient. Then substantial reality. Then Tibetan word here Je means substantial reality. So I know, for you very difficult to understand what does means, self-sufficient substantial existence. For example, in order to recognize pen, right? Pen. So what is the, we can say directly, this is a pen. Pen. So in order to recognize being, person, you must recognize the person or the being based on the five aggregates. Without recognizing any of the five aggregates, we cannot really recognize the person. Therefore, the person is not, self-sufficient, because in order to recognize, in order to establish the being or person, is very much depend on the five aggregates. without 5 aggregates, we cannot establish the being or person. But the 5 aggregates are not the being. The being, the person is not any of the 5 aggregates. Therefore, we cannot accept self-sufficient, substantial reality being. That means all, like a being are empty of substantial, self-sufficient, substantial reality. There's no, that means emptiness. Therefore, first you must remember the origin of suffering. The origin of samsara is ignorance. The ignorance has a different level, gross, subtle, very subtle. Likewise, the wisdom has a different level. One, a wisdom which relies empty of self-sufficient, substantial reality. Second is the wisdom which relies selflessness. Third, the wisdom which relies emptiness. That means you can say wisdom has a different level. Therefore, the ignorance has a different kind of meaning according to different philosophical school. Therefore, so when we do meditation, so we do meditation not just have a peace of mind. We do meditation not just have a quiet, like a peaceful mind. This is not our, achievement. This is not our main purpose. So we do meditation. First reason, we do meditation in order to realize emptiness. Once you realize emptiness, we do meditation on emptiness to eliminating the root of samsara, which is ignorance. Therefore, 3 baskets or 3 mind training. First, the mind training of Shila, mind training of Samadhi, the concentration, then mind training of the wisdom, right? Therefore, in order to realize emptiness, we must have a certain kinds of meditation, concentration. When your mind able to concentrate, then you can see, you can realize emptiness more easily. Therefore, meditation is not just for, brings a peace of mind, bring kind of quiet mind. The meditation is mainly we do first in order to realize emptiness. Then we do continuously meditation in order to eliminate the root of the samsara. Okay? Therefore, first one, self-sufficient, substantial reality. Now, what is the connection, right? What is the connection according to Mahayana tradition? Why we need to realize emptiness? Why? Why is not just enough realizing emptiness, based on the first will of Dharma, selflessness. Then remember, Dharma Chandrakirti said, without realizing suchness or emptiness of the 5 aggregates, you cannot really realize emptiness of the person. Without realizing emptiness of the person, then you cannot actually eliminate the afflictions. For the time being, you can control, and later they arise again and again. Now you can see, in order to achieve liberation, any liberation, we need to realize emptiness because we must eliminate the afflictions. Right? So last time we talked about the view from Shantideva. So now we continuously study a little bit about the view from Shantideva. Page number 85. The quotation from the Bodhisattva way. Though they possess no affliction, one see in them the potency of karma. Mean, without realizing emptiness, if you meditate on the Four Noble Truths for many months, then you cannot possess the affliction, mean the manifest affliction, but still you can have the potency of karma. Then the analogy, the second quotation from the Bodhisattva way, page number 85. Like the meditative attainment of the non-perception, the mind divorced from the emptiness, though cease, will arise again. The meditative attainment of the non-perception. This is one particular kind of meditation. If you do this type of meditation for a long time, finally look like you don't have any afflictions, no attachment, no anger, no ego, no pride. But after some time, after a few years, after a few decades, then the affliction gradually arise again, because the practice, the meditative attainment of non-perception is divorced from emptiness. Because the practitioner never practice emptiness, only practice the meditative attainment of non-perception. Therefore, time being, they reduce, manifest affliction, but they arise again. This is the example. Now you can see why, how the affliction arise again. Page number 86. If one's assert, it is certain that they have. Right? This means the practitioner who practice the Four Noble Truths with the 6 characteristics is certain they eliminate the afflictive afflictions, but they have a karma. They say, if one assert, it is certain that they have no craving, they lead to appropriation. Mean they believe they eliminate the afflictions, but the karma cannot, due to the karma, the practitioner no need to take a rebirth, cannot, rebirth again, because the practitioner doesn't have a craving. Then last time I explained the 12 links dependent oceans, the 12 links. Consciousness, that there's a karma, then any karma, like positive, negative karma, any of the karma activate by craving and grasping. Then the karma became like number 10. The karma will be like become. Mean the karma is look like a seed, very healthy seed. the seed is healthy is not sufficient. We need water and soil. Then the healthy seeds can produce sprout. Likewise, if there's a karma, no craving, no grasping, then the karma cannot activate. The karma cannot, bring a rebirth. They say, no, the person cannot take a rebirth because the person doesn't have a craving, right? Because craving, grasping are look like water and soil to produce the sprout for the seeds. So related to this topic, craving, grasping, activate the karma, then the karma become like a number 10, becoming, then we go to next life. As a Buddhist, when we are on the process of death, whether we want, we don't want, one day we have to go through the process of death. And how the karma activate? Because we have negative karmas, we have positive karmas, we have the neutral karma. Which karma will activate? Right? It depends on the positive thoughts and negative thoughts. So when we are on the process of death, when you have a very strong craving for food, drink, clothes, name, fame, possess, then the craving is becoming more strong. When there's a craving, then there's a grasping. For example, you have a very strong craving to eat ice cream, then there's a very strong grasping, hold the ice cream you want to eat. Likewise, on the process of death, and there's a craving, then there's a grasping. Then due to the craving and grasping, then the karma activate. But the karma can be positive or can be negative. Right? For example, while we are on the process of death, you have very strong craving, for triple gem. Then continuously your mind grabs the triple gem. That means that moment you are activating the positive karma. Then take a rebirth. Therefore, what he said here, even though they have a karma of potency of the karma, but the person cannot take a rebirth because they don't have a craving, right? Now, how did Shantideva prove they have a craving? How? Remember here, then the page number 86 continuously after the quotation. The next quotation. So first I will read the commentary. Since by the path, mean the person who meditated on the Four Noble Truth and the 16 characteristics, the path. The craving that appropriate future birth is brought to an end. It is certain they do not take further birth under the power of karma. Right? What they're saying, according to the Theravada tradition or according to the some master said, the practitioner who practice Four Noble Truth and the 16 characteristics, they going to end the craving, going to end attachment, going to end ignorance, then the practitioner not going to take another rebirth, even though they have a karma, right? Then the quotation here by Shantideva, though this craving may be unaffected, but it, yes, exists like ignorance, unafflicted. Made it yet exists like ignorance. Shantideva said, no. Actually, in a one way, in a one hand, you are right. They don't have a craving, but they have a types of craving which is not afflicted, not afflictions. Affliction, like a made it yet exists like ignorance. That means Shantideva say ignorant. There's two types of ignorance. Also, the practitioner doesn't possess one type of craving, still they possess another type of craving. Now you can think, two types of craving, two types of ignorance. What does mean two types of ignorance? What does mean, two types of ignorance? Now you can see here the next by Shantideva's response here is this: just as the opponent accept there to be two types of ignorance. One, that is affliction in the sense of defined in the Abhidharma. That means there's a one ignorance which is defined it by Abhidharma, and other type that is not. I mean, there's a two types of ignorance. One is actually explained, taught in Abhidharma, expressed in the Abhidharma teaching. But there's another types of ignorance which is never ever explained in the Abhidharma teaching, never ever expressed, the second types of ignorance in the Abhidharma, right? Then here, according to, related to this topic, ignorance two types. One, defined by Abhidharma teaching. Second is never ever defined, never ever explained in the Abhidharma. Still there's another type of ignorance, right? Okay, here, just as the opponent accepts there to be two types of ignorance, one that is affliction in the sense defined in the Abhidharma, and other type that is not. Cannot he also accept? Let me here asking, can't they accept with respect to the craving, one types that is affliction in the sense defined in Abhidharma, and other type that is not? That means ignorance of two types. One actually clearly explained in the Abhidharma, another type never explained in the Abhidharma. Likewise, craving can be two kinds. One, explained clearly in the Abhidharma teaching, another type of craving never explained in the Abhidharma, right? There's a two types of ignorance. Likewise, there are kind of two types of craving. Now, I think many of you are very, very new about, Abhidharma. So this is a kind of long history about Abhidharma. In the ancient time in India, there's a 7 treatises named Abhidharma. 7 treatises, 7 volumes. And therefore, the first 2, like the school proponent, they believe the 5 treatises Abhidharma taught by Buddha Shakyamuni. There are many other Indian masters, they didn't believe the 7 treatises Abhidharma taught by Buddha Shakyamuni. The 7 treatises Abhidharma actually taught by Arhat. Those are not actually Buddha teachings, it's called commentary on the Buddha teaching. In the Abhidharma, actually is explained the basic view, practice, include the path according to the first 2 school, first 2 school, like a philosophical school. Therefore, when you study in the Theravada teaching, when you meet Theravada master, many times they talk about Abhidharma, right? Abhidharma. The main contents in Abhidharma is about mainly like concentration, meditation, include all the parts, Abhidharma, right? So you must remember Abhidharma means, and sometimes you can see, upper Abhidharma, the lower Abhidharma. Within the Abhidharma, there's a two different kind of treatises. One is okay, so this one is too much for you, Abhidharma. Now, are you? I think ask question. Are you quite clear the 2 types of ignorance and 2 types of craving? What does mean? I hope you are clear. Otherwise, after the class, we can have a Q&A. The suggestion here is there's a form of craving that is not an affliction in the sense commonly asserted to both by the 2 Sarvaka school and by the Mahayana, right? Let me know it's a commonly with the first 2 Sarvaka school and by the Mahayana. This does not mean, however, that such as craving is not accepted to be affliction in the Shantideva's own tradition. Okay, now everybody listen very carefully here. The sentence here is mentioned here. The suggestion here is that there's a form of craving that is not an affliction in the sense of commonly asserted both by 2 Sarvaka school and by the Mahayana. Mean there's 2 types of craving. One, defined based on the Abhidharma. Second is never ever explain Abhidharma, still craving. This craving is not affliction according to the Sarvaka school, but still it is affliction. Mean according to Sarvaka, according to Theravada tradition, for them craving is a very gross kinds of craving, which is caused by self-sufficient substantial reality, or caused by the ignorance of self-ignorance, ignorance about self. But they don't, believe and accept. There's another type of craving which is caused by ignorance about the suchness, ignorance about the emptiness. This does not mean, however, that such as craving is not accepted to be affliction in Shantideva's own tradition. Therefore, the meaning is this: such being may have temporarily eliminated the manifest craving brought about by grasping at the self-person as a self-sufficient substantial reality, but they may still possess craving brought about by identity view, grasping at the person as exists by way of his own essence. That means one ignorance actually caused by one type of ignorance, which is self-sufficient, substantial reality. There's another type of craving which is brought about identity view, grasping at the person as exists by way of his own essence. Thus, for those who have eliminated the manifest level in the manner described above, when it's come to this latter identity view and craving, even the manifest level persists. Again now, a practitioner who meditate on the Four Noble Truth and the 16 credits for many years, they can control the manifest affliction, which is mainly caused by the ignorance, which is ignorant about self-sufficient substantial reality. Even though they cannot eliminate the manifest affliction, which is caused by identity view, grasping at the person as exists by way of his own essence. Right? Therefore, there's two kinds of craving, because there's two kinds of ignorance. Now, more detail, how the practitioner who practiced Four Noble Truth for many years, how we can say they still possess the craving. The next quotation from the Bodhisattva way: craving is conditioned by feeling, and feeling is present in them too. Right now, he was saying the practitioner has the craving because the practitioner have a feeling, because craving is conditioned by feeling. Generally, you can see, for example, when you feel the environment is so kind of pleasant, right? You have a pleasant feeling. Then you wish, this kind of pleasant feeling continuously experience. I mean, now you can see that you have a craving about the pleasant feeling. Then, slowly you have a very strong grasping about the pleasant feeling. Also, when you have a very unpleasant feeling, then there's a craving, wished the unpleasant, feeling wish to be end. Again, you are craving about, craving about the feeling, the unpleasant feeling. no more exists, not continuously remain. There's another type of craving. Now you can see feeling is a cause to arouse craving. When there's a craving, then there's a grasping. Right? That means feeling means, for example, when you see beautiful object, you have a feeling towards the beautiful object. Then continuously you keep thinking about the beautiful object, then you have a craving, kind of attachment. Craving and attachment or desire have very similar meaning. You have a craving. We Tibetan call, sepa. Sepa means craving, sepa. Then lamba means after you have a craving, then you really grasp, keep hold the craving in your mind. Right? Now you can see generally we can understand there's a feeling, there's a craving, then there's a grasping. Now Shantideva was saying this practitioner has a craving because the practitioner has a feeling. Then I think everybody thought, then how come the Buddha has a craving? Because the Buddha possesses feeling. Does he has a craving or not? Then Shantideva will say, no, he doesn't have a craving. He has a feeling. But the practitioner who practices only for knowledge of truth and without realizing emptiness, he or she has craving because he or she has a feeling. Now you need to learn, how, he can say there's a craving because there's a feeling. This line explains why craving will not come to end for one who has eliminated the manifest affliction on the basis of the basis of other path. Clear? This line explains why craving will not come to end for one who has eliminated the manifest afflictions on the basis of other path. Without the view realizing suchness or emptiness, he will not eliminate the ignorance, grasping at the true existence of the feeling. Right? Please remember, will not eliminate the ignorance, grasping at the true existence of the feeling. Right? When there's a craving, the craving have a crave about the feeling. So the person still has a kind of idea. The feeling is truly existent phenomenon. Truly existent phenomenon. The person haven't realized emptiness of the feeling. Eliminate the he will not eliminate the ignorance, grasping at the true existence of the feeling, not even to a small degree. Right? Therefore, he or she never eliminate the ignorance, which is grasping at true existent feeling. Even though they haven't eliminated, the small degree of the ignorance, which grasps the true existent feeling. But there's what craving. They have a craving because there's a feeling. Because the person, the practitioner, haven't realized emptiness of the feeling. For the practitioner, for him or her, the feeling is truly existent phenomena. Therefore, he or she cannot eliminate the ignorance of the feeling. Therefore, for the practitioner, the feeling is truly existent phenomena. Therefore, he or she has a craving because he or she has a feeling. Not just feeling, he or she has the idea that feeling is truly existent phenomena. Once more, without the view realizing suchness, he will not eliminate the ignorance, grasping at the true existence of the feeling, not even to a small degree. In that case, when a pleasurable feeling has arisen in him, why would craving in the form of longing not to be separate from it not arisen in him? And when unpleasant feeling has arisen, why would craving that long to be separated from is not arising from him? For it is certain that effects will ensure from the cause when all the flavorful conditions have gathered and there is no obstacle. That means a person has a craving because there is a feeling. There is a feeling, not just feeling, the person grasps the feeling is truly existent. Therefore, all the conditions there to have the craving. All the conditions there to arising craving. That means craving, craving must be there. Right? So the next quotation here, the way he explained how craving is relation to the feeling is both to end, unend, is presented when there's no one who feels not any feeling either. At the point giving the situation, why would craving not come to an end? Okay, so this is the point of view from Shantideva to prove all the practitioner must realize emptiness. Without realizing emptiness or suchness, nobody can achieve any of the three liberation. Liberation of the Sarvaka, liberation of the Pratika Buddha, liberation of the Bodhisattva. Therefore, from the point of view, Pasangika point of view, in order to achieve any kinds of liberation, the meditator, the practitioner have to realize emptiness. Emptiness. According to Chandrakirti, according to Buddha Shakyamuni teaching, according to Shantideva, all practitioners must realize emptiness. Right? Then what is how come, suddenly it's talk about, they have to realize emptiness? Because when the Bodhisattva reach to the first bhumi, he or she can surpasses hearer and Sarvaka and Pratika Buddha by merit, not by intelligence. When the Bodhisattva reach to the seventh bhumi, then he or she can surprise Sarvaka and Pratika Buddha intelligent. When Buddha Shakyamuni, he also clearly explained in the 10 Bhumi Sutra, all the Hinayan practitioners have to realize emptiness. Right? Have to realize emptiness. So here, also sometimes I said to many of my Dharma friends, sometimes we study too much. We study this book, this teaching from this master, that master. In a one way, in a one hand, which is very good. You know, your Dharma knowledge become more deep. You have a more clear mind. You are very much clear about your practice. Sometimes we don't know why we are studying in all this teaching. Why? So I will explain here why we have to learn this. Right? At the beginning, Chandrakirti preached to compassion as a route to achieve Buddhahood. Then from the Buddha, from his teaching, the Sarvaka and Pardika Buddha established or come into exist. Now how Buddha Shakyamuni or how all the Buddhas achieve the Buddhahood? Because then there's a three important practices, which is bodhicitta, great compassion, and emptiness. Right? Therefore, we follow the Mahayana teaching. Beginning of our daily life, or beginning of our day. At the beginning of our practice, first you generate great compassion. Of course, as a Buddhist, you already have you already take refuge. You always believe in the triple gem. As a Mahayana practitioner, at the beginning of our daily practice, first generate compassion. Then the compassion transform into great compassion. Once you really have the great compassion, then you don't have any really sense of manifest anger, but anger is deep down, there's anger, but you don't have a sense of manifest hatred, you don't have a jealousy, and your mind is very close to bodhicitta. Right? Once you have bodhicitta, then next you need to put effort to realize emptiness. Now, emptiness means there's a meaning of emptiness according to the first will of Dharma. There's another meaning of emptiness from the second will of Dharma. So you need to know the differences between the meaning, two different meaning of emptiness. The first meaning of emptiness means empty of self-sufficient, substantial reality. Mean we cannot able to identify the being person as a self-sufficiently. That means in order to identify the person, you need to identify the body, the mind, the feeling, or the sixth mind. Without identify any of the five aggregates, there's no way you can identify the person. Right? For example, sometimes you are so tall, you are so short, you are too fatty, you are so thin, you are so slim. It's you. We pointing towards the body that we recognize the person. I saw you. Actually we saw the person's body. Right? In order to recognize the person, we have to realize the body. Sometimes we say, you are very intelligent, you are stupid. Then we recognize the person based on the mind. There's no way without identify, rely on any of the five aggregates, we cannot identify the person. There's no such a person which is able to recognize safely, not independent is bit, I think, more subtle. We cannot recognize the person without recognizing any of the five aggregates. That means there's no such a person which exists without depend on the five aggregates. That means the person is empty of sufficient substantial existence. This is the meaning of emptiness. That first from the first way of teaching. That after emptiness, impermanence, suffering, emptiness, selflessness. Selflessness. Now, what is the difference between emptiness and the selflessness? Emptiness means there's not such a person which is self-sufficient, substantial reality. There's no this kind of being exists. The second, what does mean selflessness? Selflessness mean. Then, according to the Hindu tradition, they believe the person, the being is permanent, singleness, and partless. Partless, right? Not jobless, partless. Tibetan we call ta. Ta means permanent. Chi means singleness. Ta chi. Ravanjan means kind of independent or permanent. Singleness and kind of independent. Ta chik rawang, right? That means when you analyze person, according to Hindu tradition, they believe the person is a permanent, singleness, and unity, just oneness, singleness or unity and permanent. Then also sometimes we feel my body is look like my guest house. I use the body, I own the body for the time being. When I die, I let my body, therefore my body is look like guest house. Right? When you think this way, if you believe like this way, that means you don't understand. When we say I or me, so me can be established based on my gross five aggregates. And from that point of view, me cannot be separate from my aggregates. The second also sometimes we say I and me. There's another types of I and me, which is established based on the subtle five aggregates. Therefore, we should not think my body is like my guest house. I'm totally separate from my body. Cannot. Therefore, in the Heart Sutra, remember, form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than the form. Form too, not other than the emptiness. That means I am not separate from the five aggregates. The five aggregates is not separate from my me. I'm not totally separate from the five aggregates. The five aggregates cannot be totally separate from me. Because me and my five aggregates is a dependent on each other. Right? Therefore, the fourth meaning, like a selflessness means there's not such a self, such a person which is permanent, singleness, and unity. That means selflessness means selfless means no self. Right? No self doesn't mean there's no I, there's no being. Mean there's no I which is permanent, singleness, unity. There's no such as person, being is not there. Therefore, we call selflessness, right? Therefore, meaning of emptiness, meaning of selflessness. Point of view from the, based on the first bit of the teaching. The second, emptiness or suchlessness, mean all phenomena include self, being, merely designated phenomena. Then all phenomena around us include me or self are totally empty of inherently existent. Right? Inherent existent. So when we really realize emptiness, the meaning, the meaning of emptiness based on the Prajna Paramita teaching, look like from the far away we can see the rainbow. Very beautiful, 5 colors rainbow. When you see so many people taking photo, right? When we see rainbow, the more you closer to the rainbow, the more the cloud rainbow going to disappear. Actually, when you really just very close to the rainbow, you cannot see the rainbow, but other people can see you are within the rainbow. That means when we realize emptiness, look like you are really entered in the phenomena, you look at around, you cannot really say this is the like a thing. For example, a pen. If I say what is this, everybody going to say this is a pen. So I say, what is this? This is a pen, right? You are pointing from far away. This is a pen. Okay, everybody look at very carefully. What is this? This is a pen. I'm pointing from what? Now I'm more closer, What is this? You can say pen, pen. What is this? What is this? Nobody would say this is a pen because you say this is, like a cap of the pen, right? Then I can say, what is this? Pen. What is this? What is this? This is the middle of the pen. This is the lower part of the pen. So when we look at far away, before or look like a pen mean is exists from its own side. When you analyze very closely, then you cannot really see there's such a pen which exists object side. You can say this is a pen. Right? Therefore, any phenomena when you analyze very closely, like a house, far away you can say this is house. When you go closer, you can see the door. When you go in, you can see the rooms and you cannot see the house. Like a car, far away you can say there's a car. When you go more closer, you can see the door, you can see the window. When you in, you can see the within the inside the cars, but you cannot see. You cannot say this is the car, right? You cannot say any of the parts. This is the car. This is the person. This is the house. You cannot find. You cannot say this is. Mean you really pointing a very particular thing to establish a car we don't have. Therefore, the final one, emptiness, mean all phenomena empty of inherently existent, independently existent, inherent entity. There's no such as. Then now you can see just realizing empty of self-sufficient substantial reality or selflessness, and the last one, empty of inherent, empty of ultimate. Mean last part, the meaning of the last meaning of emptiness means you really enter into the phenomena, you cannot find anything. That means there's no such as a beautiful object to attach. There's no ugly object, ugly person to produce hatred and anger. But while we are sleeping, we have a beautiful, dream, very nice dream. We feel so happy. Even though within the dream, we're so happy. When we see very scary dream, when we have a very scary dream, we scared. Within the dream, within the sleeping, we scared. When you awake, look around. You don't have a sense of scary. You don't have a sense of happiness. Still, you remember that, scary mind, the happy mind. Mean when you realize emptiness, mean you look like fully awake from the sleeping. Then there's no beautiful object which is you attach. There's no ugly object which is you are very unhappy. Then we call Buddha, which is a fully awakening being, fully awake from the sleeping of ignorance. Therefore, we need to know, the very detailedly about emptiness. Okay, why don't we have some kind of again discussion or Q&A? If we don't have, then we can move next topic. Is there any kind of...
Geshe-la,
Yes, please.
just now you mentioned Abhidhamma, 7 treatises, and then you mentioned 5 treatises. So, Geshe-la, actually, Abhidhamma, is it a text that taught by Buddha, or is it a text taught by the Arahat? And then, how many volumes of Abhidhamma is there?
In the ancient time, even in India, ancient time, many Buddhists believe the 7 treatises Abhidharma are actually taught by Buddha. And also many Indian masters in the ancient time, they cannot accept these 5 treatises Abhidharma are actually taught by Buddha. All the 7 treatises Abhidharma are taught by Arhat. Also in the Tibetan language, there's a 7 treatises name, also 7 name of the Arhat. Then I didn't say the 5 Abhidharma. I said then there's another meaning of Abhidharma, the lower Abhidharma and upper. Right? The lower Abhidharma, remember the 2 brothers, Vasubandhu and another one, I think Vasubandhu, right?
Asanga and Vasubandhu?
Huh?
Asanga and Vasubandhu?
Yeah, Asanga, Pakatome, I think Asanga, yeah.
Oh, because he's...
Yeah, then there's another upper Abhidharma. There's 2 kinds of, Abhidharma, 7 treatises Abhidharma. All of them is kind of commentary on the Buddha teaching, not taught by Buddha. And also, we have a very easy to have a confusion, right? Because in our Chinese kind of culture and Singaporean culture, we name sutra. All the teaching we say sutra, like look at Buddha teaching. All the teaching, actually we can say Buddha teaching. It doesn't mean it taught by Buddha. In Tibetan, we have very clear, distinguishing the teaching actually taught by Buddha, the teaching actually taught by other like Arhat and masters. Because in Tibetan language we say do. Do means taught by Buddha. Do. Then the do or translate into English sutra. sutra, right? Sutra. Then people are again confused, oh, tantra or sutra. For example, this teaching, you're going to say, oh, this is sutra, not the tantra. Then the meaning of sutra and tantra has a different meaning. The sutra is a different meaning. Then all the Buddha teaching, we say do or sutra is a different meaning. Therefore, so very easy to have a confusion between, Abhidharma, upper Abhidharma, lower Abhidharma, and sutra, tantra, all the Buddha teaching and sutra, all the teaching taught by other masters in Tibetan language, we never name, sutra. Sutra means always taught by Buddha. Buddha. Yes, there's a 7 treatises Abhidharma taught by Arya, not the Buddha. Because when you study the 7 treatises Abhidharma, you can see sometimes it's totally out of kind of the content, the meaning is very much contradict with the Buddha teaching. Yeah. Okay, any question?
Stephanie, there's a question in the chat room.
Yes, Geshe. So is it correct to say that all human beings should have feelings in order to have compassion for others suffering? However, we try not to have craving.
Definitely, in order to have a compassion, they must have a feeling. Remember in the Lamrim Shimo, Lama Tsongkhapa said, first, you need to realize the suffering based on your own feeling. Then you can feel the compassion towards other. You don't have any kinds of, when you, for example, when you feel you are suffering, you don't have any kinds of mind wish to free from suffering, then you cannot have a really like a compassion towards other. Yes, definitely in order to have a compassion, in order to generate compassion, you must have a feeling. For example, let's say one mother lost her child. Then another lady, haven't lost her own child. But one lady lost the child, both then feel upset, very unhappy. But the mother who really lost the child, the feeling is very more deep and more serious than the mother who haven't lost the children. Right? Therefore, yes, feeling. But for us, yes, we must have a feeling. We should not have a craving, is correct. But for us, very difficult to have a kind of feeling, not craving on the feeling. For example, all the like a smoker, drinker, why they always drink smoke, like a beer, because when they smoke, they have a feeling. The person really cannot give up the craving because of the feeling. Right? Therefore, there's a feeling and craving has a very deep connection. For example, when you say, I really like pizza, or somebody says, I like the burger, I like laksa very much, right? When you say, actually, they really like the feeling. When they eat the burger, laksa, they have a very kind of, special feeling. Actually, the person they not say, oh, I like the feeling. You say, actually, I like the burger. Actually, you're talking about the sense, the feeling which you have after you eating the burger or whatever. Right? It's actually, we always talking about a feeling. Oh, I like you very much. I mean, when you see the person, when you meet the person, when you touch the person, you have a very kind of special feeling. That you are always talking or thinking about the feeling. Actually, we said, oh, this and that. Actually, you are have very much craving about the feeling. But in order to stop craving, we need to realize emptiness of the feeling. When you realize emptiness of the feeling, then for us very easy to control the craving. For example, remember again Lamrim. For example, there's a, let's say we are in the kind of in the big hall. There's a magician. The magician, like produce a beautiful person, beautiful like male or female. When the magician produce beautiful female, very beautiful female, all the like a male have an attachment. When he or she produce beautiful male, then all the female has a attachment towards the beautiful person. Then person thought it's not good to have a attachment and desire, that the person meditate on essenceless ugliness of the magician person. The Buddha said, this is not the right way to meditate on ugliness and essenceless, because this is not such a person, not person. That when you realize the magician person is just produced by mantra or like a substance, for you, no, this look beautiful, but there's nothing. Oh, this look very ugly, but I don't have to have this thing, but it's just magician things. Therefore, in order to stop craving about the feeling, we need to realize emptiness of feeling. The feeling I have is empty or truly existent. Then there's a feeling, kind of a craving. Therefore, all the Bodhisattva who realize emptiness of the feeling, they have a feeling, they never have a craving on the feeling. Because they realize the feeling I have is look like like a dream, like illusion, like a magician, like phenomenon. Yes, yeah, you can say it that way. Any question?
If at the time of death, we have a deep wish to take birth in Sukhavati, is that considered as craving?
Yeah, it's a craving. But the craving activate the positive karma or negative karma is different. So moment of the death, we have very kind of strong kind of wishing to born in Sukhavati. That means your mind is strongly craving about pure land. That moment, the craving is kind of positive craving. It's activating the positive karma, right? Yes, it's a craving. It's a kind of activate the positive karma. Also, while you are process of death, when you have a strong faith towards the Buddha, also is a kind of craving, is activate the positive karma. The next life, you will born into higher realms. It's a very like a, if maybe you hear the kind of story. My teacher, he taught me all the like philosophy things for almost 20 years. One day, he was sick. He was admitted hospital. Then next to him, there was another old lay person. The old lay person passed away in the hospital next to him. Then we Tibetan tradition, whoever passed away, we do some kind of astrology. We asked the astrologer, where this person is going to born, what kind of attachment he has in the moment of the death. Then the astrologer, the result of the astrology, there's a moment of the death, he's strongly attached with a female person next to him. Next to him, my teacher wasn't, he's not a female, strongly attached with the female who is next to him, right? Then, everybody was surprised. Then when they look around, there's a box picture with the female under my teacher, right? Under the bed of my teacher, under my teacher bed. There's a box with the female picture or painting. So moment of the death, he saw the picture, then he confused in the real female and the female picture, right? Therefore, moment of the death, sometimes we really confuse. We are really actually, visualizing the actual pure land, the pure land which is just created by our own mind. And also you can see many people in the hospital, just moment of the death, during the process of death, the weather is very hot. The temperature is very hot temperature. The people asking, I feel so cold, can I have a more blanket? I feel cold, can I have a more blanket? Means the moment of the death, the person is craving the coolness. Due to craving on the coldness, he or she activate the negative karma to bond into like a health. Sometimes you can see the person sit on the bed is very solid. The person says, please pull me up. I'm sinking. Please pull me up. I'm sinking. He feel it due to the craving, due to the karma. He feel it look like he really going to sink. Then he said, lift me up. That time he or she also slowly generating craving to born into kind of bit higher realms. So yeah, it depends on what kind of craving you have. So yes, moment of the death, if you have a very strong kind of wishing to born in pure land, this kind of wishing you continuously need to sustain the craving until finally, until you fully dissolve the gross mind. Then definitely the person will born into Sukhavati. But not easy to maintain the peaceful mind, not easy to maintain the positive minds. Because while on the process of death, there's a lot of changing of the four elements. When the four elements changing within our body, we have so many different kinds of illusion. Sometimes we feel so scared. Sometimes we have totally kind of different kind of appearance. Not easy to maintain the positive mind. A lot of destruction around us, particularly due to the four elements. Yes, this kind of craving is a good craving.
It is said that Bodhisattva who has reached the third bhumi will be able to see Buddhas directly and talk to Buddha statues. Is this true? In the Lamrim, it is reported that Atisha was already talking to Tara at the age of 11.
Yes, based on the Atisha story, where he was very young age, he can he can communicate with the Tara. But I don't think that moment he can see the actual, the Tara. He can communicate with the kind of female in the space. Sometimes he can communicate with the statue. This was when you reach to a certain level practice, I think then you can communicate well. Otherwise, the just simple ordinary person cannot. Also, the Buddhist when he reached to, I think 10 or like 9 bhumi, then he can receive teachings from the Buddha's statue. There were, in the when you go to Bodh Gaya, we said talking Tara, talking Buddha, so and so. For us, even though we are human beings, we cannot really, communicate with the proper qualified gurus. For us, so difficult to have this kind of experience. Yes, Adisha has this experience. Also, one of the Gomang monk, actually he was born in Eastern Tibet. Then he came to Lhasa. Then I think second day he went around the Podala temple. Then he paid respect to Manjushri. Then the Manjushri really, laugh, for him. Since his name is, laughing Manjushri, Jamyang Jepa. Jamyang means Manjushri. Jepa means laughing. Yeah, sometimes I think this kind of experience. Also remember, His Holiness Dalai Lama, I think when one time we visited the Western country, I cannot remember the particular country, he visited to one of the church. Then, while he was leaving the church, he looked back, he looked behind, he really saw that the Mother Mary was really fully, with a sense of happiness, the Mother Mary is really laughing him. He's going to say, he said, he saw this one. So sometimes so difficult to believe, the statue, they can, speak to us. But certain people can have this kind of experience. We cannot say it's a, fact, it's not lying. We cannot say. The next question.
Geshe, could you please advise us how to imagine Sukhavati Pure Land, how it looks like? So every day we may develop an infinity of the Pure Land at the moment of death.
It depends on which sutra you are using. So my mother, particularly during the winter time, every evening, she did a lot of chanting. Also, she chanted about the Pure Land. So, we just listening her chanting. For me, then he was saying the chanting, oh, there's no king, there's no food, there's no clothes. I thought, what kind of, land is this? So simple, you can imagine, in the west side, in the west direction, south, east, west. You just imagine in the west, part of the world, in the west side, there's one particular land is totally pure. Whoever born there, they no need to eat gross food. They just fulfill their, hungry or thirsty with the meditative food. And somewhere in the west, the land, there's a Amida Buddha with a dark blue color holding the begging bowl. Around him, there's millions of, a practitioner who are born there due to their daily practice, due to the recitation. So in order to visualize Amida Buddha, you need, very nice painting or statue of Amida Buddha. You look quite often to the Buddha, Amida Buddha, have a perfect image of the Amida Buddha in your mind. Then you should not think this is an image. You should not think this is a painting, a picture. You must think this is the real Amida Buddha I can see. But right now, I'm still in this part of the world. I wish to born actually his land. And then the Pure Land practice is part of the Mahayana practice. You must generate great compassion. You wish to benefit all sentient beings. Wish to practice the Mahayana path continuously until I become a Buddha. But in this world, there are so many obstacles, so many destruction. They interrupt my practice. If I am born there, then I continuously practice the Dharma without having, kind of obstacle. Then I become Buddha. Then I benefit all sentient beings. Mean you're practicing great compassion, bodhicitta. Then you can recite, the mantra or name of the Amida Buddha. According to Chinese tradition, you say Namo Amida Buddha. Actually, Namo Amida Buddha. Namo means prostrate to the Amida Buddha. But traditionally, you say Namo Amitofo, right? Namo Amida Buddha. The actual mantra is Teyatha Om Penzadi Our Bodhanaya Soha. Teyatha Om Penzidi Our Bodhanaya Soha. This is a particular mantra of the Amida Buddha. Right? And also there are so many prayers in Tibetan language. Also, I think there are so many prayers in Chinese and Mandarin language. You can memorize the shortest prayers, and you can pray every day. Particularly on the process of death, still you can pray verbally. Then slowly you cannot move your lip and tongue, right? Then you can chant in your mind. Then, and there's a hope to born in Pure Land. Pure Land. But sometimes I felt, and this moment, we have all the qualified teacher. You have a more than free time, enough time, practice the bodhicitta, renunciation, emptiness. Why we put more effort to practice this path instead of hoping born in Pure Land? But there's no guarantee we can be born in there. Instead of hoping born there, we must practice this moment. You have all the condition, necessary condition to practice the Dharma. Okay, so we can have one more question, then we can stop our class today here.
Dear Geshe La, what is the difference between Tathagata Garbha and Arya Vijnana? What is the difference between Tathagata Garbha and Arya Vijnana?
Tathagata Garbha is Buddha nature. Buddha nature, Tathagata Garbha. And then Arya Vijnana, we say Phakpiri. The Arya Vijayan mainly used in the first, first two school in Arya Vijayan, because that means non-attachment. Arya Vijnana means non-attachment. When you have a non-attachment, that means you have the seeds to achieve the Arya path. Arya path, non-attachment is the Arya Vijnana. Then the Tathagata Garbha is the Buddha nature. Now you can see there's no contradiction. You have the Buddha nature, but your mind is so strongly attached with the samsari thing the Buddha nature never going to be manifest. Never going to manifest because the attachment fully depressed, suppress, right? When you have a non-attachment, then the Buddha nature slowly going to develop. Therefore, according to the Hinayan schools, I'm not saying Hinaya practitioner, according to your first true Hinaya school, for them, the Arya Vijana is the look like the Buddha sits, Buddha nature. Then Chitta Mandara, they say, Tathagata Garbha. Then the Arya Vijana has a 4 types. In Tibetan we call Pape, Rik, Ji. Okay, also you can check in the Google, you definitely can find the 4 kinds of Arya Vijana. Clear? So the difference between Tathagata Garbha and Arya Vijana. Pape, Rik, Macha, Pagri, in the Abhidharma mentioned, Macha, non-attachment is the Arya Vijana. Then Tathagata Garbhe is the Buddha's nature. It's a true meaning from point of view from the Abhidharma Pasangika, point of view from the Chitta Mantra. Okay, next question. So I'll take one more question.
That's all we have for now, Geshe. That's all we have for now, Geshe.
No more question?
Yeah.
Okay, since today we mainly we follow the root text, that sometime we need to look into the commentary by Lama Tsongkhapa, who have this hard and soft copy, illuminating the intent. Please continuously you read, little by little. This book is I'm going to say, one of the best commentary on the interim middle way. Also, this book include the wood commentary by Chandrakirti, right? There's because His Holiness mentioned, even though I'm very old, I'm always open the commentary on the root text by Chandrakirti. So this book, the root text there, the commentary by Chandrakirti is there, then his own commentary. On his own commentary, he make a commentary based on all the other, like Indian master teaching. So if you have a soft copy, please continuously read, bit by bit, instead of reading a lot of other books. You focus on reading this book. Since today, every Saturday, we will mainly follow the root text. Then for you, very easy to follow, very easy to understand. Okay, so thank you so much for attending the class. At the end, we do dedication. Sometimes, so difficult to believe, how much we accumulate merit just, like reading the books, listening the Buddha teaching. Right? Definitely, so we have accumulated a great amount of merit because beginning, we recite, we chant all the chanting with a good, pure motivation. Second, we chant the root text, the entering middle way. Then we just, you just listen about emptiness, why important, so and so. Also my side, I try to explain with a pure motivation. Therefore, definitely we have accumulated great amount of merit. All the merit we have accumulated today. Also, if you attended the morning puja, then we have a lot of merit. All the merit we accumulate or become a Buddha ourselves to benefit all sentient beings. Jamba Bave Jidara Kemba, Gundo Sambo Deyan Dejen, Deda Gunji Jesuada Lojin, Gawan Deda Damjara, Chaza Wadan Chujin Shebadan, Jesu Yiran Guljin Soa, Gawa Junze Daki Jizaba, Damje Sobe Janju Jan, Dusun Shebe Gawa Damje Yin, Mawa Kanla Chodo Ngaba, Lage Gewe Zawan Digun, Zambo Jiji Radu Muwaragi. Also, we dedicate a merit for world peace, particularly all human beings free from the COVID, Omicrons, because these days people are very much scared about the COVID, the new virus. So, two conditions very important. First, you take care of yourself, right? So, it's doctors, friend, they mention 100 times. Wear your mask, wash your hands, keep distance with anybody. The second, every day you do chanting, recitation, your daily practice. Due to these two conditions, we can be free from the COVID-19 or the new virus. If you focus only one, there's no guarantee. If you do only chanting recitation, no mask, no washing, no hand washing, there's no guarantee. If you do only washing your hands, keep distance, and also there's no guarantee. If you do this both, definitely, we can be free from this COVID. Last, we dedicate the merit, free all human beings from the COVID, particularly the new virus. Jida Yambe Yagan Danjedo, Mede Chuje Zande, Madro Muge Guba Gunje, Tire Mede Yadembo, Neri Jigaza Jiwada, Mede Nebe Nedan Rawa, Timba Ruju Bunzon Zoyube, Tashi de Yandan de Lesh. Dere Sumja Ruju Jiwada, Mede Nebe Dandan Rawa, Timba Ruju Bunzon Zoyube, Tashi de Yandan de Lesh. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for attending the class. Then have a happy Saturday. Maybe we will see you on Sunday. Thank you. Bye-bye.